Welcome to Eurobike 2019. This is part 2 of our videos, wandering around trying to find the best mountain bike related tech here. And I'm starting right here at a park tool stand, so let's have a little look and see what we can see. We're pretty lucky at GMBN to work with park tools anyway, but there's a few things that I've not seen. This is one of the new additions to the Pro work stand. I guess you could fit this on other work stands as well. Enables you to hold a wheel on the underneath and various tools and components. You might wonder why you need this on a work stand. Well, we don't always have the ability to work on a workbench or anything near the bike, so sometimes working on your bike you want to have all the tools at hand. That's just a nice little addition to work stand, but there's also a few other new things just over here which I'm going to take you to. For a long time working on the bikes in a GMBN workshop, we've been using the regular needle nose pliers, but actually a set of pliers is super useful to have, good all-round tool. But that is my tip for like the favourite tool at the moment. You know I like my cable ties, so you need a flush cut pair of pliers or snips in order to cut them. They're tiny, they're super sharp and they're really accurate. Always like to see that sort of thing. It's me thinking that turbo training was always for the roadies out there, like that massive screen, but not anymore. Zwift have developed this software. You can actually go for a mountain bike ride indoors. Okay, what's the point? Some of you might be saying, well, sometimes when it's raining day on end and you just want to spin your legs out a bit. Actually, something like this is a pretty good idea. I've got to say, it's actually pretty good fun. This is the Bell Super Air R helmet. It's a brand new helmet from Bell with a whole bunch of cool and interesting features that might be good for you guys out there looking for additional safety when you're out riding on the trails and you want some full face protection. Now, it has a removable jaw guard on it. Now, the idea of having a removable jaw guard is not necessarily something that's brand new. In fact, Met first did this with the parachute way back in the day, and then Giro later did it with the switchblade. It's not a helmet familiar that you might think of now looking at the switchblade that currently exists, but the original one looked a bit more like the original Giro Hex or perhaps a hammerhead with a bolt-on jaw guard. Now, it wasn't that effective and didn't fit that many people, but when Bell came out with the original version of the Super, it was fantastic, and it had 3 buckles, 2 at the front of the helmet and 1 at the rear, and you can literally unbuckle them and take the jaw guard off whilst keeping the helmet on. Fantastic system, works really well, but they've definitely refined it since. Now, also on the inside of this helmet is using the new spherical version of the MIPS protection system. So MIPS is against rotational injury. It's a protection system to cradle your head and help prevent that sort of injury that you might get. And this orientation of it is the best it's ever been. And it's actually something we've seen before on Giro helmets, and we've seen it now on Bell helmets. A really, really good system. Extra protection, you've only got one head. Now, Giro nearly hit the jackpot when they launched the Switchblade helmet because a lot of riders started running it without that removable jaw guard. And you might have seen this helmet popping up in some of the 50-1 videos, and riders like Vero like hitting big lines in that wearing this open face helmet. This is the next big thing. It launches later on in the year. It's got ear defenders built into it. It's got the rotational MIPS built into it. It's a fully protective helmet and it's not going to cost the earth. Super stylish and definitely, I think it's quite a cool look. What do you guys reckon of this? Let us know in those comments underneath. Personally, I think the understated look is really quite cool, quite different from mountain biking. Go a treat with a white t-shirt and a pair of jeans. For as long as I can remember, Giro have had a helmet for just about everything. And the Hex was the mountain biking helmet that pretty much spanned the sort of the beginner rider, the commuter, the everyday trail rider, all the way through to the pro. Many people use that helmet, but it's pretty old now. This is the new version of it. So this is called the Radix. It's a fully featured helmet. It's got MIPS on the inside, and it retails for less than €100. So that really is a pretty incredible helmet for the money. And you certainly wouldn't know it's a bit more of a price point helmet. As you can probably see behind me, some of the advertising, the sort of stuff that goes with it, it looks like a really high-end helmet. And it matches in with all the colour points and that you expect with Giro, of all their gloves and their shoes, their socks, all the other parts of the kit. A really smart-looking helmet. Shoes is something that Giro have done extremely well for a long time, and before anyone else had really put the name on an enduro shoe, they were producing the Terra Duro shoe. Now this had, in fact, it had this same sole on it, it had a nice wide heel on the back, a very stiff shank on there, excellent off the bike, really efficient on the bike. Now this is the Ventana, this is the fast lace model. There's also a BOA version of the same shoe, and it's basically a replacement for the Terra Dura, but it's got a super lightweight upper on it. The Terra Dura had a double Velcro or hook and loop strap, and it had a buckle on there as well. This one has the fast lace system, has a little lace flap under here, and you've got a security buckle on there too. There's hook and loop or Velcro on the top. As I say, the upper is like a welded design. It's super lightweight. That's going to feel so nice in warm conditions. And then there's the BOA edition. So if you fancy that additional security and you really want to crank up the shoes for pedaling power, that is the one for you. But I've got to say, the fast lace one in that colour, I think that looks like an awesome shoe. So I'm here looking at the new Trust Performance Shout fork. Remember, this is the second fork they have produced with this trailing link design. It's completely different to anything anyone in the industry has produced before. We're going to be making some content with this soon at some point, but I'm just going to give you a little rundown on this. It's a full carbon fibre design fork, very different to a telescopic style fork in the fact that it has a linkage design on it, and a shock absorber mechanism is actually housed inside these carbon legs. Unlike the Message, which was a shorter travel fork, this is the big boy. So it's a 178mm travel fork, and it's suitable for 27.5 and 29-inch wheel bikes. Now, the whole thing that's really, really bizarre about a linkage style fork is A, it doesn't have any sort of stiction that you would get with a telescopic style design fork, and B, they can help control the angles of the bike. If you think on a telescopic style fork on a hardtail, as the fork dives when you're going down through travel, your head angle is going to change and your trail is going to change basically, so it really makes your steering feel unstable. On a bike like this, that effect isn't quite so much. I need to do a bit of homework to find out exactly how much that is, but what that really correlates to is the trail, I think, actually increases rather than decreases, so the bike gets more stable the lower in the travel you get. So by all accounts, when you're doing those steep switchbacks going down a mountain, when you're hard on the brakes and you've got to turn the bike around, this should be the best thing on earth for that sort of riding. But when I know more about it, I'll tell you more. But this is it. And this is the only one at Eurobike as far as I know. And just happened to see it on the stages stand, which has nothing to do with this fork. So that is a good little tech find. Whatever you think about this fork, I think it's bit of a masterpiece in bike design, really. I'd love to know what you think about it. Let us know in the comments underneath, and if you want to see me do stuff, I'll pull it apart into pieces and show you what's inside. Let us know that as well. Now, we did take a little look at Kender Tires when we were at Sea Otter Classic, as in the Monterey, California Sea Otter, not the Spain one that we also visited this year. And we took a look at the Hellcat tyres, which is what Gwyn has been running on his intense race bike. But obviously at the beginning of the year, he was running the 29-inch wheels, and they have these in 2.4 and also in a Mammoth 2.6 in our 29-inch tyres. But as we've just known from the World Champs, he's been running the mullet setup, so like a 279, if you want to call it that. I think that's what Intense are referring it to, so 27.5 out back. And of course, with these tyres, they have these available in a 2.4 and a 2.62. They've also got e-bike certified casing on them, so they're insanely tough, very sticky and very aggressive. They do some amazing combination tyres with the Hellcats, the Nevergirls, really well worth looking at actually. Can't deny it, I am a bit of a sucker for the gravel bikes. I did borrow that Newproof Digger from Rob, my friend over at Newproof, and this has got to be one of the nicest looking bikes I've seen yet. I think, personally, I need to do a gravel challenge with John Cannings over at GCN Tech. What do you reckon? GMBN Tech versus GCN Tech in the realm of gravel, seeing as it's kind of halfway house between the two of us. If you've got any ideas on that, let us know what you'd like to see in the comments below. But if I get to ride something like that, I'm quite up for it, although I would put a dropper post on it, I've got to say. The colour, I think that is the coolest looking colour Kona have done on any of their bikes. So here you can get this in the Process 153 as well. So if you fancy a bike park ripper in a colour like that, pretty badass. Polygon is a name amongst GMBN viewers that you might be familiar with riders like Sam Reynolds and of course Tracy and Mick Hanna racing their bikes on the World Cup scene. This is their latest bike. It's called a Siskiyou. It's a 29-inch wheel trail bike, 120mm travel. As you can see, it's got a really nice layout to it. But the thing I'm blown away by is A, how good the geometry looks, and B, the pricing level. So the top of the range trail spec version retails for just €2,499. That is bonkers. So this one is $1,299, and the one just to your left, right here, this is just €899. Look at the spec you get on on this thing for the money. It really does go to show that you do not need to spend a fortune to have a great mountain bike that's going to give you a really good experience off-road. I love the fact that it's a fully featured bike. It's a single pivot, linkage activated. Kind of reminds me actually of those Caliber bikes, a similar kind of layout, and that is just, well, that's flattery really. It's a really fantastic looking bike. Really impressed with what they're doing. Should be doing some stuff with Polygon around the corner, so keep your eye out on GMBN Tech. If you're interested in customising your bike or doing top mod, as we would say on the weekly GMBN Tech Show, something you're going to want to look at is a brand like Raceface. So they make just about every component you could need for your bike, including cranks and pedals and chain rings and stuff like that. And they also make them in just about every colour under the sun. As you can probably see, there's some good examples just behind me here. They've also, as I've noticed, just dropped a 12-speed specific chain ring. So if you're lucky enough to be running a 1x12 setup, you're sorted there from Raceface. And add up on the top there, you've got some lock-on compatible grips there using the locking collars. You can just replace the middle part of the grip. They've also got those Next carbon bars with the coloured trim on them. They've also got something very cool if you're a dropper post fan just over here. So you can have just about any colour option. I particularly like this. This would match my Newproof stem actually quite nicely. You can use these on just about any cable operated dropper post on the market. Nice and simple. Mount straight to the bars. You've got a choice of position there. They just look really cool. It's a nice hop-up kit. As you can see, there's handlebars, there's grips, every colour under the sun, and a nice little extra as well if you've got carbon cranks. The little boots to go on the bottom of your cranks to protect them from getting too scuffed. Again, more colour coordination coming from Raceface. And what did I tell you about colour coordinating? Fox are on it as always. You can fully colour coordinate your fork and your shock to the rest of the stuff on your bike. Always pleasing to see. In addition to that, from a more techie point of view, just showing off the capabilities of what you can do as a consumer to your fork or your shock to improve the ride and customise it to the way you want it to ride. So we talk about volume spacers quite a lot. Here you can actually see them in use. You've got your air tubes here. So if you have a longer air tube, you get a longer stroke fork really, or a shorter one, and vice versa. It's cool to see those on display. All the various different volume spacers here, those SLS springs, the lightweight springs down there, and a whole host of actually tools for maintaining your stuff. Now I'm lucky enough to have one of the 24mm sockets, but I haven't got the 32. I need to get one of these in my life. Super cool though. Gotta love what Fox do. Well, there we go. There's another roundup of Eurobike 2019. Hopefully you've enjoyed some of the tech that we've uncovered here. I'd love to know what you liked the best, or maybe you like the least. Let us know in those comments underneath. If you want to know all about those Husqvarna bikes in the background, you're going to have to tune into what GMBN put out from Eurobike. So I'm going to throw a link down there for that. And if you want to see our first video, click down here for that one. As always, click, share, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. And if you hit the little bell, you'll get a notification when our next video goes up tomorrow.